Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we are going to be making these vegan It's It ice cream sandwiches with mint flavored ice cream. In this video, of course, I have a mukbang at the end of me tasting it, but I will also show you how to make the oatmeal cookie, the ice cream, which is naturally flavored with fresh mint leaves, as well as the carob chocolate that we dip the ice cream sandwich in. Let's get started. Our vegan mint ice cream is made with a base of cashews and we need to soak them. So we are going to be soaking 2 cups of cashews. I soaked mine overnight, but you can soak yours throughout the day from at least 4 to 8 hours. So what I did was I just poured some distilled water over my cashews, just enough to cover them and enough for them to swell a little bit. And this is what they look like the next day. I drain this water that it's been soaking in, and then you're going to pour your cashews into a high-speed blender. Soaking the cashews makes them really soft so that they're easy to blend. From there, you're going to add 1 cup of maple syrup. This is going to give it the sweetness that it needs without changing much of the color, which something like coconut sugar, which is what I normally use, would do. From there, you're going to add 2 cups of new fresh water. And because I don't use any food coloring, we are going to use 2 capsules of spirulina. I just open them up and put them in here. And just in case you're wondering, the spirulina does not alter the taste of the ice cream at all. It is literally just for color. After that, we are going to add 1 teaspoon of pure vanilla bean powder. And this part is optional. I just added a few dashes of sea salt. Next up, this is where all the minty flavor comes from. Mint leaves. So what I did was I bought a few packages of this mint. I actually grow mint at home, but the first time I made this ice cream, I used it all up. So I had to buy some from the store, and this was Trader Joe's brand. You will be using 1 cup of packed mint leaves. So we are going to remove all of the leaves from the stems. Make sure you rinse them off, and then you are going to measure 1 cup that is nicely packed of mint leaves. You could add more than this if you want it extra minty. I would wait until we blend it all up and taste it first with 1 cup, and then if you want more, you can always add some more. So from here, you are going to add all of the mint leaves into the blender, and then we are going to blend this up. You want to keep this on a blend for at least a few minutes until you see absolutely no bits and pieces of cashews. You want it to look very, very smooth and completely blended all together by the way it's going to smell amazing. I'd say blend it for at least 2 minutes. Here is the green color that it gives, and this is the texture that you want. I'm using this really old ice cream machine by Cuisine Art. I got it at Costco probably over 10 years ago, but basically you get this large centerpiece that has some type of fluid in it that freezes, and you place it in the freezer for 24 hours prior to this. This way it's nice and frozen and solid. And then we have our scraper, which spins around and churns our ice cream while it freezes. So we're going to pour all of the creamy mint goodness into the ice cream maker, and we wait about 25 to 30 minutes until it's done. Every few minutes as you watch it, you'll notice it just continues to get thicker and thicker, and then it starts to scrape more and more ice cream off of the edges. And although this ice cream maker was very reasonably priced, I believe it was under like 40 bucks. If you don't have one, no worries. What you can do is pour the creamy mixture that we made into some ice cube trays, but leave some of the creamy mixture in the fridge for blending, and then when the ice cubes are frozen, you just blend up the ice cubes with a little bit of the creamy mixture and you'll get an ice cream. From here, I just lined a banana bread pan with some parchment paper, and I'm going to remove this scraper and get all of this ice cream distributed into the pan and then into the freezer. By the way, if you want to eat the ice cream, this is the best time and best texture that I find that it is right out of the ice cream maker. It is so good. I could not stop tasting it, you guys. So I remove all of the ice cream from the scraper, and then I transfer it by scraping it out into the pan. I mean, look at this. Who would have thought that cashew ice cream would look and taste this good? Like, wait until you taste it. From here, I'm really patting it down and I try to push it really deep into the pan and smooth it out on the top to make it look real ice cream tub-ish, if you know what I mean. I do want to get some actual ice cream tubs that I can wash, but I haven't gotten any yet. I have seen some online, but if you guys know any good ones, please let me know down below in the comment section. But as you can see here, I'm just smoothing it out, making it look nice and professional. And then after that, of course, you can choose to eat some right away, but this is the final look and we are going to put it in the freezer now. And let's move on to making the cookies. And yes, these are gluten-free, so we are going to start with some almond flour. You will be using 1.5 cups of that, and then we will be mixing all of our dry ingredients together first. After that, you are going to add 1/2 cup of tapioca starch. This says tapioca flour, but it is actually the starch. And next up, you're going to add 1 teaspoon of baking powder. And then from there, we are going to add 3 cups of gluten-free rolled oats. And then you are going to mix this, making sure that all of the dry ingredients are well blended together. You want to make sure that there aren't any clumps. And then from here, we will get started on our wet ingredients. So in another bowl, you are going to add 1/4 cup of maple syrup. And instead of adding any oil, you are going to add 1/2 cup of coconut cream, 1 cup of coconut sugar. By the way, this does not taste like coconut, just in case you were wondering. The camera didn't catch me adding the 1 teaspoon of vanilla bean powder, but I added that prior to this. And then I also added 1 teaspoon of ground cinnamon. And from there, you're going to blend all of these ingredients. You can use a whisk, or here I'm using a spatula, and I'm going to speed this up a little bit, but basically just blend it all through. And then we will be adding all of the wet ingredients into the dry ingredients. You can slowly add it in and mix, or you can add it all at once and mix, whatever suits you. I'm going to speed this up as well. The reason that this part may take you about 5 minutes or so is because you want to make sure that there aren't any clumps of dry batter in the cookie mix. I do some scraping down of the spoon as well, just to make sure that it's all evenly mixed. As you can see behind here, there is some dry batter still at the bottom. And this batter can get a little thick, so that's why you see my bowl moving around everywhere, because you got to put some elbow into it, okay? And then we are going to let the batter sit in the fridge covered for about 15 minutes. I have a lid for this bowl, which I love. It makes it easy for me to just toss it in there. And this way, when we take it out of the fridge, it's nice and cold, but much more easier and pliable to form into cookies. And the batter just sticks together much more easily. This is a good time to preheat your oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. So you can make these cookies as big or as small as you want. These aren't going to expand much, so the size that you make them is the size that they'll be true to once they're done. And the amount of cookies that you have depends on how big you make them. I made these first 2 medium size, and then I made some very large ones, and I also made some small ones as well. I wanted to see when I made the actual It's It cookie if I liked it really large or if I liked it medium size, and how the portion size worked for me. What you see me doing here is I smash down the batter, and then this is just me being a perfectionist. I like to make the round edges perfect, so I either make them perfect with my hands or I use a spatula, which actually makes it a little bit easier. And you'll notice here, I just go around the edge like this and make it nice and uniform. You don't have to do this. I just really like the aesthetic of making it look exactly like or similar to the actual It's It. And you're going to bake these for 15 to 20 minutes. I would say definitely check them at 15 minutes. This is what they should look like. They're soft enough to where you can kind of push them a little bit once they've cooled off, but they're not too crunchy. And by the way, these are all turned upside down. So this is the most amount of brown that you should allow them to get. This one here is an example of one that was overcooked from my other pan. And don't get me wrong, the overbrowned ones still taste good right away, but once they actually cool down, they were way too hard to bite into. Next step, wait until they are completely cold and let's get your ice cream ready. I have a hot cup of water next to me that I dipped the spoon in to make the ice cream melt a little bit easier into the scoops. I suggest waiting until the ice cream gets pretty soft and pliable. I kind of started a little bit too early here because the ice cream was a little bit hard and it was hard for me to really push it down. So here I have a bunch of scoops that I put on one of the cookies. I just can't get over how good this ice cream looks. Okay, so once you got some of the ice cream scoops on top, you're going to squish it down because you want it to be able to be an actual bite size. You don't want to have to open your mouth extremely wide just to get a nice bite. So here you see me just slowly pushing it down. I don't want to break the cookie, so I'm doing it with caution. And even though we are pushing it down, there seems to be some areas that have little bits of gaps in it that I want to fill in with the ice cream. I'm just doing this with my hand to make it easier and smoothing it out just to make it aesthetically look a lot nicer. And from here you get the point. That's what I continue to do. So I'm speeding this up, and then after that we are going to get some parchment paper ready because we want to freeze this one more time, at least for another 20 minutes. It's going to freeze the whole cookie. This way when we dip the cookie in the chocolate, it hardens up really fast. And with the parchment paper, I just fold all of the edges in until it is completely covered, and then I put this back into the freezer just like that. And you're going to do that with as many cookies that you can. I personally made 3 large ones, and then I had a lot of ice cream and a bunch of smaller cookies left over. And then I'm going to speed this up while I do the next cookie just so you guys can get the idea. And the rest of the cookies, I'll do them off camera. Okay, so next up, we are going to get started on the carob chocolate. So we're going to start off with some refined coconut oil. Mine was melted because it's that hot, and we're going to use 1 cup. Next, we are going to use this brand of carob powder, and we are going to be using 3/4 cup. I've mentioned this before, but you really want to make sure you get a good brand of the carob powder because if it's not toasted, it doesn't give a chocolatey reminiscent taste. So that's very important. And if you don't use this brand, make sure that you get carob powder that is toasted. So from here, all you do is you see me adding slightly a little bit of carob powder at a time, and then I'm mixing it up. Here I'm just making sure I get all the extra little bits. If you want a very, very smooth texture of this carob chocolate, then I recommend you putting this in a blender, but I didn't do that for this recipe. Next up, we need some powdered sugar, and I used coconut sugar. What I did was I just blended up coconut sugar in my blender and turned it into powdered sugar. I used about 10 tablespoons, and as I gradually added it, I mixed it up. And you'll notice as you add the sugar, the carob chocolate will continue to get a little bit thicker, which is a good thing. You don't want the chocolate to be extremely runny. After that, I add 1 teaspoon of vanilla bean powder. Make sure to give that a nice little mix as well. And then from there, we are going to add a little bit of some sea salt. This part is optional. I just do a few little sprinkles and that's good for me, but this is to taste, or you can leave it out if you'd like. Once we get that nice and mixed, we are ready to move on to the next step. So once we dip the ice cream cookie into the chocolate, we will be laying it on a hard surface on top of some parchment paper. Now that my ice cream cookie has been in the freezer for actually like a night, but you really only need to do it until it's cold, so it can take like 30 minutes to an hour max. And this is what it looks like frozen. It just feels really cold all around, including the cookie, not just the ice cream. And we are going to just dip this into the bowl, and then we're going to coat it almost as if we are basting the cookie with the carob chocolate. The good thing about this part is it goes by really fast because the cookie ice cream is frozen. Therefore, the carob chocolate hardens up really quick. Make sure that you cover the whole ice cream cookie with chocolate. So if there's any little spaces, just use your spoon or your spatula and get in there like I'm doing here. And then you are going to set this on the parchment paper. I'm just showing you kind of what it looks like for right now. By the way, we will be double dipping these. And you'll see how the color changes of the carob chocolate once it has hardened. Then it's a perfect time for us to go in for the second dip. So make sure it's fully coated. We want a nice thick layer. This way, you know, when you're eating it or you're taking bites of it, like a nice chunk of chocolate just kind of falls off. That's what we're going for. So we want to make sure that this second dip is perfect. And once it has been fully coated, you can allow the excess to drip off, and then you're going to set it in some parchment paper. I did this 2 ways. I allowed it to completely dry, and then I folded it up like how it was earlier, and then I placed it in the freezer. But then I also did the other method of allowing it to completely freeze without covering it at all. I just placed it in the freezer on a hard surface just like that. And just to note, either way works. I personally would probably just leave it uncovered. It only needs to go in the freezer for a few minutes after that, and then you can eat them. But I have some of this excess carob chocolate left over, so I just put it in a chocolate mold, and I'm going to place this in the fridge and use it later. And that is pretty much it, you guys. This is the final and finished replica of the It's It, but the vegan and gluten-free version. I hope you guys enjoy. I'm so proud of myself for this one. Tune in for the mukbang where I taste it after this. I'm so excited to try this, but I think I need to wait till it melts just a little bit so that I can actually eat it. I kind of want to cut it in half too, but I have 2 of these also, so I have 1 more in the fridge just in case this one doesn't go as planned. And plus I want to get some pictures too of like it split in half. I'm so excited to eat this, you guys, because I tried some the other day without the chocolate and it was just so good. It's starting to melt a little bit on my hands. I wonder if I take a little bite. Hold on, let me see. Okay, I got some of the cookie. I think I should be able to cut it. Okay. I don't know if this is gonna work. Okay, let me see. I gotta put my elbow. Oh, it's working. Oh my gosh, I did it. Okay. Here it goes. Okay. So you can see the oatmeal, the rolled oats in there. I don't even know if I'll be able to take a really good bite, but I got some of the mint ice cream. I can't believe I made this. I made the oatmeal cookies a little thick too. They're not as thin as the It's It cookies. But oh my gosh, I loved It's It's. I'm gonna try to take a full bite, or at least bites of it. We'll see how it goes. It's perfect. I thought it was gonna be harder because it took me a few tries to get the cookie of the like oatmeal cookie to actually be pretty soft. Wow, I did a really good job. I don't really have much to say besides make this at home. So I made this. This is like when I first made the mint ice cream, it came out perfect the first time. But when I made the cookies, it took me a few times to get those like exactly how I wanted it. Because at first they were coming out a little too hard, to the point where like when you would try to bite into the cookie, it was literally like the cookie tasted good, but the texture was just way too hard. So now when you bite into them, they're still soft, like soft, obviously not like gooey soft, but like soft enough to where you can bite them and it'll like, you know, break off, just like how, you know, the oatmeal cookies are in the It's It's. Except mine is gluten-free. Got a little piece of chocolate. And this was my first time though making the mint ice cream with the ice cream maker, which I love that. Like that took what, 30 minutes, I think. So let me show you. Do you see that? And I made these cookies way bigger than the regular. It's like the regular I feel like are a lot smaller than this. You're probably hearing the little pieces of chocolate falling. I think I'm only going to eat half and I'll save the other half for tomorrow. Because it's pretty filling. And I actually still have lots of ice cream left in the freezer. So for this recipe, know that you'll have some ice cream left for your family. It's really good. What's cool about this video or this recipe is that all three things, the ice cream alone is really amazing by itself. The cookies alone are amazing by themselves. The chocolate alone is amazing by itself. And you put it all together, it's so good. But you can use these recipes that I showed you here just to make oatmeal cookies if you want, or if you just want to make ice cream. There's so many ways that you can change the recipes just a little bit or alter them a little bit. For example, to make like vanilla, you can just leave out the mint. Vanilla ice cream is what I meant, but you know what I mean. Kyrie's upstairs sleeping. I know when I was little, I used to like lick the outside, make it all smooth. Oh, I think I just dropped some on myself in the chocolate. This is exactly how the Its used to be, right? Melting on your fingers. Chocolate. I got like, what, 2 more bites left for the half? Now that I know how to make ice cream, I can't wait to make this for Kyrie's birthday, for his 2nd birthday. He'll have some mint ice cream. He likes ice cream. My ice cream. Normally he eats banana ice cream. It's gonna be my last bite. It's hitting the spot, you guys. A lot of times it's funny because people always ask me if my son can have candy, or if he can have cake, or if he can have ice cream. And I always tell them, like, he has that stuff. Like, I make that stuff for him from scratch. I kind of want another little piece of this. Cut a little piece. I'll take a few more pieces. But I think some people feel bad, like he doesn't get to eat all this. They don't know that I make like these videos and that he gets to eat all this cool stuff. Like, his mama makes it from scratch, okay? And I've been doing that for me, and of course, for my baby. I want him to have the best of the best ingredients, okay? So people will be like, oh, can he have candy? Oh, can he have cookies? Oh, can he have... I'm like, oh, he has that, but he can't have the one that you're giving him. But usually, like, when we go to parties and stuff, I'll bring him some of my own cookies that I made, and he will not even budge at trying to eat what everybody else is eating. He's like, I'm good. I love that for him. It might change as he gets older, but we'll deal with that then. When he's older, he'll just be a little more conscious on, like, why we eat the way that we eat. So he'll be able to better understand the reasoning behind it. I'm going to put the rest of this away. Anyways, my fingers are all chocolatey. But I hope you guys enjoyed that video. More of my favorite treats will be coming up soon. But like I said, in between, I will be doing some TSW and like healing videos as well. Anyways, thank you guys for rocking with me. I will see you guys on the next video. And if you have any questions, leave them in the comment section. All right, bye.